Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just turn the sounds are on. Oops, my bad. We're in game number 2 of the best of 3 here for the Fight Before Christmas North America qualifiers. We haven't given much shout outs to them, so I want to give a big thank you to Chairs for Gaming and CM Storm, both of course supporting this tournament through giveaways and monetary institutions and whatnot. Spawning down here though in the bottom left corner of the map is going to be from Complexity Gaming, the blue Terran player, QXC.
The bottom right, as the pink Zerg hits Kane.
Kane, you believe he's up 1-0?
Oh, I get it.
Sorry, I actually apologize.
I can, because I voted for him.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I'm actually a little bit shocked. QC had a lot of the right moves to deal with what Kane was doing, but regardless of whether you know how to deal with that or not, it is an incredibly frustrating situation to deal with. There's definitely, I'd say, this almost, I don't know, salt meter that gathers behind all Terran players, and I'm not saying QXC specifically here, but like when you're playing against Swarm Host, you're playing against it, you're just like, oh, free units are so cool. As the game goes on and long, you're like, free units are so freaking cool. I'm really glad he can make them. Like, so a lot of the engagements that did go down, like I want to stress, like when QC's tank line was broken, that wasn't the Swarm Host that did it was the Zerglings, it was the Mutalisks, it was being out of position, this, that, and the other. So while Kane had this really nice addition to his army that was uncommon and definitely irregular, it was pretty much the standard play that won him that game, I feel.
Yeah, I didn't really like QXC's apparent game plan. I don't know if he felt that he was forced into it, simply because of, I don't know, like Kane's Ling attack, for instance, or some other feeling that he got, or just he was thrown off a little bit. I don't know. But if his plan was to be kind of as passive as he was, I don't really like it. You know, passive play is sometimes a good thing. Sometimes it leads into just simply rolling over your opponent with enough bio, but I think especially if you know your opponent's going to go for Swarm Hosts, like forcing the trade so that there's only 2 Swarm Hosts and then 4 Swarm Hosts, as opposed to letting them get 14 Swarm Hosts in 60 seconds, that's going to be better. But was QXC really supposed to know Kane was going to go for Swarm Hosts? I don't think so. You say that Kane's a Swarm Host player, but does that usually include TVZ?
No, I think that's one of those things where if it's mech, yeah, you guarantee it all the time, but
right.
When it's bio, it's one of those things that will come if the situation rises. I mean, so people are aware. If you haven't seen Namshar, Kane, Snoot, these are all players who are very good at executing this style we watch. And one of the big things that any of them will tell you is it's not something you gear directly towards. You don't have a build order that says, all right, after 32 supply, I do X and Y, that's leading to Swarm Hosts. It's one of those things where, I've got a bit of breathing room. I can pick between Hive Tech and Swarm Hosts. Well, in that instance, he went for Swarm Hosts.
Yeah. I'm interested to do it again. Nimbus in these positions, it wouldn't be bad.
Man, every time I come to this map, everyone I know is Swarm Hosts are great for Nimbus. And then I'll actually watch Swarm Host games go pretty poorly for the Zerg player on Nimbus. So I don't know how I feel about this, because I've heard stories that I've seen wins on bigger streams, but every time I feel like I cast a Swarm Host game on Nimbus, it's the Swarm Host player that loses.
I actually like Swarm Host more on Deadwing. I feel like they always went on freaking Deadwing. But it just, in terms of being able to park them in one spot, if you look at this map, the way that they're positioned, Kane could get, 15 Yutas, however many that he wants to get, park them over his natural, have the Swarm Host right on top, where maybe a 4th in a different position would be, and then you just cover that side of the map. QXC has to go a really long way around to get any drops or any really aggression done, so that's why I think it's a good position, if you can get up to the Swarm Host, of course. Otherwise, that's whatever.
Well, as far as QXC goes, we get the Banshee coming up behind these Hellions, some pretty standard stuff to see. Kane, though, still hasn't really lost any Lings yet. The Reaper Harass hasn't been phenomenal. There's a bit of poke going on the hatchery right now. I kind of applaud that Kane hasn't dived down with the Queens. You want to make sure he had that creep down first, so he had an exit strategy, because while they're going to be slow getting there, they'll be able to retreat a bit quicker with the creep spread.
Defensive Baneling that's going down. Does not have any great scouting done. I mean, if there was going to be a 3rd command center that's going to be obvious, it is usually on Nimbus. Usually it's right on the bottom of their main base where the Overlord is. It just always seems to be the case, but not so. And Kane has not even tried to really tango with these Marines. Oh, well, because he has another Overlord that's going in the other way. So we will see that Banshees are following this up. He'd love to be able to get back there and see if an armory is down as well, but it's not going to be possible.
Well, I think more so than that, what this means now is that he has to keep these queens alive. He can't really go dive for the Hellions like he might want to, because this is his anti-air. This is what he's going to need to stop Banshees from just straight up killing him.
Yeah. The Banshee is on its way to the natural, and luckily a Spore Crawler will be done there. I was more worried about the third not having a Spore Crawler, but again, because it's on the other side of the map, QXC would have to have gone the long way around, and by then the Spore Crawler would have been done.
Well, with the creep finally getting down here at the bottom of the ramp, it does give Kane more mobility options. I mean, the reason he's playing so close to the ramp isn't because he's scared of like the queen's sake of the fight. He doesn't want anything to run past the queens. It's the big priority. But QXC with the Viking out is going to clear up a couple of the overlords. Kane's already starting to bring these back home to minimize losses. Small supply block, annoying, but not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Of course, it's nice to do so if you plan on dropping that natural, which
Queen,
is the
please.
usual plan. Just trying to help.
It's that kid in kindergarten who just wanders off on their own for no reason. Like, we got the buddy system for a reason.
There's 5 of us. Where's my buddy?
Exactly.
That's what she's saying.
I'm my own buddy. So despite the Spore Crawlers and despite the coverage, we still had that Banshee picking away, chipping off on the sides. 7 workers have gone down. Is it devastating for Kane? Hardly, but definitely not damage he wants to be taking.
Behind this, of course, QXC got to a third base. He's getting to that normal TVZ point, and hopefully he'll apply more pressure. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to him just automatically picking up on a 2 medevacs and going across to the natural. Mutas aren't out, and his Banshee would usually be the first target, so it's like kind of a safe maneuver to go ahead and try that. But I guess it's not really ever that safe. Mutas could be out at any point.
Kane needed a small pause. We've spent a lot of time looking at Kane's base because, of course, that's where the pressure has been. But during the pause, we look over at QXC's. I mean, his extra Raxes are coming down. He's already got the tech labs and reactors on most of his already existing buildings. I mean, I think he's in a perfectly fantastic spot. You know, his third base just landed. It's becoming the orbital. Not exactly stuck on 2 bases and not exactly stuck with a very awkward all-in.
Game resumed.
Well, a couple of the drones can get fried and picked apart here and there.
Oh, drops are. Yeah. See, I wouldn't mind this if he thought that the mutas were already out. I think by now he's kind of determined that, okay, they weren't like fast-ish mutas. They were just normally timed. And this is obviously a great thing to do after you take down all the overlords.
So the Spore Crawler will not quite be in range to pick up all the medevacs. Gosh, who was that? Was that center in the Alima League, man? He kept doing these drops where he would lose all the medevacs to like the same Spore Crawler over and over and over again. So really like that QXC pulled these back.
Yeah. We'll have to pick up, though. Okay. Well, I guess he was micro on the other side of the field. A couple of Hellion try to get the drone to the third. Didn't really work out so hard and so much.
Well,
and
he still killed 15 workers at the end of the day. I mean, not the most cost-effective trade, but still a lot of workers dead.
7 for the Banshee, a couple for the drop, a couple for the third. Of course, those Hellions could have been Hellbats.
That's true, but I think like if this was a scenario where Kane had a proper army to go for a counterattack, then we can talk about how devastating his losses were. But he doesn't. So as QC continues to drop, there's no real threat to his own base. His production is going to cover whatever few amount of lings come across the map. Definitely going to need some more Banleys to defend this natural base. Once again, big drop 3 times. Medevac's worth this time. And while the drones are pulled, they're probably not going to live. What am I just going to go down here? Ooh, what's it going to go off on? That's a big question. Oh, what? What? Queen
I think that
drones.
had to be focus fired.
Yeah, because otherwise it would pick the drone sitting on top of it. Banley's going to roll in here. They should be able to clean this up. And it's going to pick up and go. But damn, that Queen going down was just absolutely painful.
Wait, when did he get 37 workers killed?
It's just been constantly relentless, man. Every time he comes in, he gets 7 to 10 to 10 to 10.
God. Yeah, that's definitely worth it then. You know, Kane is now down by 20 supply. Last game, he was up by about 20 supply in a really great position. Obviously, kind of the reverse this time, and QXC's got to be feeling pretty good. I think the time as to like dropping the natural has gone. Kane should have enough mutas just park there and just be like, no, stop. But I think it's okay. QXC can start attacking up the these routes up here, the creep spread. It's gonna have a really good composition. Combat shields seem a little late, but they're gonna be finished up.
Well, the one thing I'm a little bit curious here for QXC, I mean, first of all, I really like this wall he's erected. It's gonna definitely cut down on run bys, but you know, the question is fourth base, question mark. Do you stick on 3 for this long? Do you try and take a 4th while you're applying pressure? I mean, right now he's not in a position to have enough army to float for a defense to split between, say, his 3rd and the 4th, but as time goes on, you just put a planetary there, and all of a sudden, it's just mutas you really got to worry about. And of course, by constantly pressuring here into the natural, the mutas can't really leave, they have to stay to defend. So, I mean, QXC's got a couple of opportunities available to him outside of just sitting here parked, but again, it's not the biggest priority to take that 4th. You can just keep pumping and pumping and pumping, looking to max out and get that 3-3. Speaking of which, you should probably start that. There we go, 3-3.
2-2 is about to finish up for at least one +2 melee. Kane also investing into a +1 carapace for his mutas. Seems it's a little interesting. 4th base is not the earliest it could have been. These are changelings. QXC's taking his sweet time, you know, going across the map onto creep as well. He should. There is still a lot of creep, even though he's on the high ground. It's still very dangerous.
That's a lot of widow mines, though. This is not like the 1 or 2 we're used to seeing. They all got drilling claws, so quite the minefield is in place here. Queens actually probably should have just tried to die underneath the medevacs.
That's what I was thinking. The medevac gets pretty low because of the medevacs. But obviously Kane, a little scared to push in here. He's still down by 20 supply. His upgrade isn't quite finished, and there's still a lot of widow mines that have not been disarmed.
Man, did you see how far that one Baneling rolled in, though? Like, oh my gosh. Queen, of course, taking quite a few hits because Marauders are not the best at killing Queens, but for Kane's sake, like, yeah, he's waiting for the extra Banelings to finish up. He's trying to send in small sections at a time. That's how you're supposed to do this. Rolling about 4 or 5, not too much more. Turning the Mutalist to focus on the Marauders might be the best bet to stop that concussive shell from slowing him down.
Upgrade's about to finish, but he doesn't really have that overwhelming amount of Banelings. Are there any backup? No, that's really all of his army.
It's kind of as weird as this is considered kind of like an all-in move right here out of Kane. A little too much, a little bit antsy. Looking in the main, there's a cluster, but it's Overlords. Kane's got not a lot to work with, and QXC still has a ton rallied.
He still has a bunch of widow mines that are just, if they're not disarmed, he can run past like 5, and he's bound to get a good shot here or there. Oh,
so
what am I?
many Marines, though. With all these Marines living to see another day, like that's what makes it so difficult. And keep in mind, guys, QXC is still fighting on creep. This is supposed to be Kane's territory. Banelings actually gets some pretty good connects. Yeah, it just washes out the entire left side, but still with the Woodmines down, with a rally coming across the map by Kane, half the army supply of his opponent right now. The muta's bleeding out. It's just all starting to crumble for him.
Yeah, that was all the mutas. He's trying to replenish them with 9 on the way, but that's all the Banelings that he really needs to deal with the muta or the Marines. And the creep is also finally to go away. Like that's one thing that Kane had on his side. That's it's vanishing.
Good game's called. QXC going to take the game, bring it back 1-1, and give us a map number 3. Nice.